Number 16, Pilgrim's Progress, which we started on last week, but we didn't get into it.
It's not there.
And Pilgrim's Progress, the full name is the Pilgrim's Progress from this world to that which is to come. It's a very long,
It's not showing on the screen.
it's a very long allegorical tale told from a Protestant Christian view of what it takes to get to heaven. And it was written by John Bunyan, not Paul Bunyan, John Bunyan. Possibly during one of his stints in jail for violating the Conventicle Act of 1664. And what the Conventicle Act said is that you weren't allowed to preach outside of the okay of the Church of England. And of course, there were a lot of Calvinists at the time, and even the Wesleys were preaching eventually outside of the official seal of the church. So John Bunyan was doing, he got arrested. The wonderful picture here, I realize you can't see it real well, but you can look at it in the book. And if you don't have a book, feel free to buy it for $10. It's only 5 left. This shows John Bunyan in Bedford Jail, 1667, his blind child leaving him for the night. So here's John Bunyan looking pious, and the child's, with his arms around his daddy's hips, and then here's the jailer ready to take him away. So they did know how to do PR back then too, how to get people riled up about something. Pilgrim's Progress was published in 1678 by Nathaniel Ponder. So occasionally you'll hear about the Ponder edition. Anyway, the beginning of Pilgrim's Progress says, "This book it chalketh out before thine eyes the man that seeks the everlasting prize. It shows you whence he comes and whither he goes, what he leaves undone, and also what he does. It also shows you how he runs and runs till he unto the gate of glory comes." So even he admits that this is really long. Notice he says, "and runs, and runs." This book will make a traveler of thee, if by its counsel thou wilt rule thee. It will direct thee to the Holy Land, if thou wilt its directions understand. Yes, it will make the slothful active be, the blind also delightful things to see. So it was popular during that period, not as popular today, where people would publish kind of moral guides. And if you follow these things, you'll be a moral Christian. And this is kind of that concept on steroids. This is kind of the big one because it was so long. And you notice in the argument, maybe he went a little too far of saying, if you follow the stuff in this book, you'll be saved. Well, technically we would like to say if you follow the stuff in the Bible, you would be saved. But there's nothing wrong with writing a book about Christian virtues and how it works in 2 parts. Part 1, a man named Christian. Well, tongue-in-cheek there, man and Christian, decides to search for the celestial city, decides to search for heaven. And along the way he meets a bunch of people. Some of them want to help him. Some of them want to hurt him or get in his way. And maybe the worst ones of all are the ones who say they want to help him, but all they end up doing is getting in his way. And I think all of us have run into all 3 categories in our life. You ever met somebody who is supposedly meaning you well, but it seems everything they do gets in the way of you moving forward? So along the way, he meets the devil. He meets Christ, although of course he doesn't know it's Christ when he first meets him. He meets various angels and people who either want to assist or impede his question. And eventually he arrives at the gates of the celestial city. So if you want to see his adventures along the way, you can get this free on the web. If you have Kindle, you can download it for free.
So it's a lot like the Canterbury Tales.
Canterbury Tales.
Those are when I remember high school English, I kind of missed a few of that.
Augustine's City of God, there's some elements of the second half of City of God are similar to those. So here's from the actual book. Now, when they were come up to the gate, there was written over in letters of gold, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city." So there's actual gates that you enter in through to get to heaven. Some from above looked over the gate, to wit, Enoch, Moses, and Elijah. So they're kind of the greeting committee, which I thought was kind of cool. You know, as you're going in, you can, Enoch, cool, I've read about you.
They got greeter badges.
Behold, the city shone like the sun. The streets also were paved with gold, and in them walked many men with crowns on their heads, palms in their hands, and golden harps to sing praises withal. So this is kind of a bucolic scene of heaven. People waving palms and playing harps and that sort of thing. There were also them that had wings, and they answered one another without intermission, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. And after that they shut up the gates, which when I had seen, I wished myself among them. I think that's a nice touch. And he gets this view of heaven, but he's not in heaven. And he, boy, I wish I was part of that. Well, it named me a book, either the Old Testament or the New Testament, where he might have got the illusion about the angels with wings singing, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord.
Well, there's
Revelation in the Old Testament.
It's on it,
Isaiah.
Probably read that in day.
Part 2. His wife and the children of Christian then embark on the same journey, and they meet some of the same people, but they meet different people too, and they have a different set of adventures. Their journey takes longer than the father and husband, as they stop for such things as the children meet people, and they get married, and they have all this sort of thing. Many people consider this to be the greatest Christian book ever written in English. I'll leave that up to you. It is on my list, but it's not in my top 10, so you can see about where I would rank it. And this here, you can't see it real well, but this actually shows different of the adventures. It's a wood carving from 1862 that shows some of the adventures that they go through on their way. So it's a moral tale. It's also an attempt to kind of show us what we're striving for as Christians.